Hello there. What is going on, everybody? So I just saw Rise of Skywalker and I'm kind of blown away. So I'm gonna give you just like a first impressions, kind of initial reaction. This is not gonna be like a full review. This is just gonna be like my first take because I think it definitely warrants an additional viewing before kind of sitting down and doing a review. Not going to go into spoilers until maybe halfway through the video. I will warn you before I go into spoilers. So, with that said, also do want to remind everybody that there's still time to enter the 12 Days of Life Day giveaway. I'm also going to announce the final giveaway and the 12 Days of Life Day giveaway is going to be for a Star Wars Legion Clone Wars core set. So it's a big one. I haven't announced that yet, and that is going to be, I think, the giveaway number 12. And I think we've got like 3 or 4 more days yet. I have to look at my list. I've got a whole list of all of them. But I thought I'd give you guys a little sneak peek as to what is the final giveaway. So that's going to be a whole core set for Star Wars Legion, The Clone Wars. And if you want to enter to win that or any of the other gifts for the 12 Days of Life Day giveaway, you just have to be a subscriber, leave a comment on this or one of my other videos. It's as simple as that. Come January, once if any of these gifts are not claimed, so if somebody either misses that they were announced, because I'll announce winners usually at the end of my videos, then those are all going to roll over into additional giveaways for Patreon, so patrons can get stuff there. Okay. All that admin stuff out of the way. And there's links to all that stuff in the description below. Click down here. You know, you're going to see links for social media, because sometimes I announce winners on social media too. Twitter, Facebook, Patreon links are down there, all that stuff. So, Rise of Skywalker. Initial reactions. I was worried because everybody was saying, oh, everybody's disappointed. Everybody's disappointed. To summarize, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it an awful lot. I thought the movie was great. Not perfect, but great. I don't think it could have been perfect. I think there's some things it could have done better. I also feel like I can understand why people may have had some criticisms for it. I feel like there's probably some plot elements that could have been set up better, or maybe you had to just suspend your disbelief too much. We've got to find the unobtainium. Well, there's some unobtainium over there. No, that's not good enough. Let's go over here and get this unobtainium. We have to go that, like maybe there's certain things that, as far as great cinema, like wasn't explained well enough. Maybe. I mean, I gotta go watch again and see if that's really the conclusion that I come to. But so I can understand there being some criticisms of this film. However, it was also tons of fun. Had lots of cool things, a lot of really cool things. Like some of the things that were cool were really cool. And I had a list of things I wanted to see. Of course I wasn't going to get everything on the list, but I got some things on the list. I got some things that I wanted to see. Really what I wanted was fan service, and I got fan service. I got all of the fan services I wanted, but I got some of the fan service that I wanted. And so that was great. I was very, very, very happy. There was also some things in there that I feel like some of the things I think they did maybe for laughs, and those were good too. Maybe a little bit too much, but kind of withholding some of my judgment. And of course there is Leia. I'm going to be honest, and I understand if you don't like what I'm going to say here. To be fair, like the Leia scenes were kind of like, you could tell they were reusing footage and they were just doing the best with what they had. It's not a criticism. It's just like, if you haven't seen it yet, like, don't expect a whole lot out of the Leia scenes. I don't want to get into specifics, but there were a couple of times where, like, hey, we have footage of Leia saying yes, so let's have somebody ask her this really plot-related question so that Leia can be like, yes, like really was, I understand why they wanted to have her be in this movie, because it was important. It really makes me wonder what Episode 9 would have looked like had Carrie Fisher been around to film it. I think it would have been better. And, well, Of course, well, of course. See, this is why we do initial reactions video. I hadn't had time to. I didn't write a script for this. Of course, it would have been better. Of course, it would have been better. It was Carrie freaking Fisher. Of course, it would have been better if she was there. And so that's probably one of the things that I think is going to lead into some of the criticisms, is that they could have done better with this movie. But I totally give them a pass for that, because that's nothing any of us had control over. So I think they did the best with what they had, and I think it worked. Now, as far as the good things were awesome. I cried multiple times, tears of joy, while watching this movie. I saw this movie with my wife. This was the first movie the first Star Wars film I actually went with my wife on opening night to. I usually go by myself because it's like a religious experience for me, and I just need I need solidarity. I'm like, nobody can go with me. It's always been that way. So this time, this is how you can tell I love my wife. We've been married for like a million years right now. And no, 12 years. We've been married 12 years. And she's amazing. And I let her go with me this time. And she can attest that I was getting a little bit like, whoa! Like getting loud and like, oh my gosh. And just like even shaking and crying. So because I get that way. And this is the time to just totally get into it. I think I'll have some criticisms. I think I'll have some nitpicks, and I think I'll have some things that I can say. Maybe some things that I didn't agree with this choice, or I didn't agree with that choice, or whatever. I'll probably have some of that. But I think the initial reviews were overblown. They took some of those things that would probably be nitpicks and kind of overblown them. There's only one thing that I really... I don't know, man. Well, we can talk about spoilers in a little bit. I think when I talk about spoilers, I'll talk about some of the things that I was just like not happy about. But they're not. But none of them. I don't think any of the things that I was not happy about are like, oh my gosh, unforgivable sins, for example. I don't think so. So, with that said, let's. I guess this is a good point to transition into spoilers. So, if you don't want any spoiler talk, this is the point to sign off, and I will see you later. So for all of you guys signing off now, I hope you enjoy the movie. If you go in there determined to hate the movie, you're going to find stuff. Like I said, there is good and bad things sprinkled out, but the good things were super cool, and I loved the good things. If you're focused on the negative, you're going to find those things too. It's one of those things where you can see whatever you want to see. It's like you're looking at a checkerboard with red and black checkers. If you see, if you want to see the black squares, you're going to see the black squares. If you want to see the red squares, you're going to see the red squares. I wanted to see the good stuff, so I focused on the good stuff, had a good time. Noticed some of the bad stuff too, but to me, the bad stuff was, I could easily overlook it. It wasn't a big deal, and it'll be fun to nitpick about over the next couple of years while we wait for the next movie. And so that's fine. And I'm all right with that. So that's my short-term summary. Now we're going to talk spoilers. We're going to talk about all the spoiler stuff. So here we go. Bam! All right, spoiler talk. I'm going to give a few extra seconds just in case people are reaching for that stop button. No, I really enjoyed the movie, though. You already know Lando was in it. I really liked Billy D's performance. I love the way they introduced Billy D. They introduced him, like kind of saving our heroes, kind of in a place I didn't expect. And so even like things are going to happen, it was just great to have them happen. So Billy D kind of, shows up kind of surprisingly. He wasn't in it that much, and that's fine. That's totally fine. A lot of the like little things like that were just, like having Leia there, having other people like Maz Kanata, I think didn't need to be there, but I think she was put there to kind of balance the absence of lines from Leia. Like Maz Kanata was like a trans, like, Leia knows that you need to go to this system to complete the intent of, the Skywalker, blah, blah, blah. Leia knows what's the most important. And then Leia's like, yes. And I'm like, like, do you have to add, or like Rose didn't have much of a purpose in this movie. It was just like, well, Rose was in the last one, so let's have Rose be in this one. That was, I'm going to say this, though, since we're on spoiler talk now. I feel like this movie tried too hard to be a big middle finger to Rian Johnson. I don't know if it's too hard or just, at first it was kind of funny. You see Luke Skywalker's Force Ghost catching a lightsaber, and it's like, as Rey was going to throw it away, and says, the weapon of a Jedi deserves a little more respect, huh? Wink. Like, it's almost like he looked at the camera and winked. I mean, he didn't, but there was like a smile on his face where it was kind of like he was like, I didn't agree with that decision from the last movie, so now we're undoing it, right? I'm like, oh, come on, really? And of course, like, and so I see what they were doing there. It was a joke, but I'm like, oh, this is why. So no more trilogies do I want multiple different directors, at least without like a Dave Filoni or somebody at the helm who's maintaining that cohesive vision. That was the problem with Rian Johnson's movie, is just that it didn't play well with the bigger picture that was going on. And this one is not playing well with Rian Johnson's. They're just being like, no. Oh, Ray, by the way, we said you're a nobody. What I really meant to tell you was your parents were pretending to be nobodies because you're a Palpatine. I'm like, okay. So, like, that's cool. That's cool that she's a Palpatine, but I just felt like it was just too much of a complete reversal of 8. Now, that may, and that's the problem, I think, is that's one of my nitpicks here is like, okay, you're either going to like get people who hated 8 to go, yeah, but at the same time, you're going to then alienate people who loved 8, and we're like, oh, why'd you give us the middle finger? So it's like, I don't know if that was the best way to do it. Like, I see how they did it. Like, they're like, well, it wasn't a complete 180. It was more like this, look, I see that you have questions. Well, I had some of the answer, but I didn't have the whole answer. Like, I see why they were trying to do that. But really, that's all the more reason why they shouldn't have even said that in 8. Like Rian Johnson shouldn't have said that you're a nobody. It's like, are they just making it up as they go along? I guess that's kind of a nitpick, Again, got to watch it again. Like, I loved the intro. I loved the whole Palpatine stuff. Palpatine cloned Snoke, had many more Snokes in a clone. Like what? So I guess that's another criticism. They didn't really answer as many questions as they could have, because there's a lot of questions still unanswered. Like, okay, you made Snoke from what? Like, why and what? What's going on with that? Right? Like, so Palpatine. Now, first off, Palpatine looked cool as hell. I'm sorry, he looked super cool, connected to this giant apparatus being held, like cloning technologies. Clearly, nobody's as good as the Kaminoans, right? And so that's obviously, I think, what was going on here. That was nice. So I'm getting text messages right now, so I'm trying to like distract you. Like, oh, no, I'll talk to you about the movie later. So first off, and by the way, super powerful moment when Rey thought she killed Chewbacca. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so good. What a great way to pull somebody to give somebody conflict. Oh my gosh, she thought she killed Chewbacca. That was great. Love that scene. And then you find out, I was thinking, wait, wasn't there 2 transports? But I wasn't sure. And I'm like, all right, it's my first time watching it. I'm like, maybe I missed it. Okay. And then you find out, like, that would have been a terrible, like, I should have remembered, like, wait, didn't they show Chewie in other scenes? Maybe, but then again, sometimes trailers, and that's the thing where showing too much of a trailer ruins a movie. That was supposed to be a powerful scene. And had that been spoiled or whatever, had you like been like, wait, I know Chewie was in this other scene, I forgot half the stuff going in. So that was a super powerful scene where she shoots the Force lightning. So, and another thing about Rey being a Palpatine is it totally freaking clears up so much of this Mary Sue stuff of why is she so powerful. Well, there's a darn good reason why she's so powerful. It's in her blood. And so I dig that, man. I dig that a lot. That was cool. And I'm willing to accept that. And maybe that's the thing. It's a fiction movie. You got to be willing to accept certain things. That's one that I am totally willing to accept. Luke had pretty good stuff. I love Luke lifting the X-Wing out of the. I love that they used Luke's X-Wing too. That was a great thing. Loved that. That's one thing from Rian Johnson's movie that I really liked. I loved having Luke's Red 5 X-Wing there under the water. I think some people will probably nitpick on how did she go into hyperspace in an X-Wing with no astromech, but I think you can say that she may have used the Force to navigate through stuff, or more likely B, she had that whole Sith rangefinder thing, and that's what let her do the calculations. She had basically kind of like a holocron that kind of was built for navigation. So she didn't need an astromech for that. But I think people will probably talk about that and be like, wait a second, she needed an astromech. How come? Okay, well, that's what that special device let her do, and we have to go with that. We also know that you can use the Force to navigate through hyperspace because the Chiss do that. I love that all this stuff went on in the unknown regions. That's cool because that fits very, very, very well with Palpatine's desire to recruit Thrawn and do all of this nonsense. So loved that. Loved that. I loved how powerful they showed Palpatine to be when he was reborn, shocking, shutting down a whole fleet. We got new Force powers in this. I loved, that. I mean, and some people will not like this, that Kylo Ren got strong enough to be able to snatch something long distance, basically teleportation with the Force. And that was, I don't think that's something they can just do anywhere. I think that's pretty clear that was only between him and Rey. They were bonded so close through the Force, and they used a term for it, and that's another reason I need to go see it again. Something, a virgence or something like that in the Force or whatever. But not a virgin. That was from episode 1. Anyway, but they had this bonding with the Force where they were linked together, like they were meant to be. It was their destiny, right? So that's cool. That's fine with me. And that's they grew so strong that objects could pass. Later on she hands him a lightsaber. We got the redemption of Ben Solo. That's what I wanted. I did not want him to die, though, and I felt like he didn't really have to die. He just used the Force to save somebody's life and then die. I think the idea, at first, my first reaction was oh, crap, we get him back and he's dead. And I'm thinking, well, I guess it would be too hard for him to go back. What is he going to do, go back to the Resistance? So I was hoping that maybe he would just, no, I can't return with you. I'll hide out on Dagobah. I've hurt too many people. I'll have to live in exile. And that sets up a future where maybe some other people seek him out eventually, and he's like, no, this is my punishment. Look, I may be redeemed right now, but I still have consequences for what I did, and that part of that consequence is that I have to live in exile right now. And maybe once enough time passes, he's like, all right, you know what? I'm going to have to train some people now. There would be a future. But since he's dead now, he gave the rest of his life force to save Rey. Well, then what are you going to do? It's but there's still potential for a future. Rey built her own lightsaber, and she did it in her staff, and it's yellow bladed. It's awesome. I'm so glad I made a yellow bladed lightsaber at freaking Galaxy's Edge. So that much is cool. Again, I'm a sucker for the cheap thrills. Rey made her own lightsaber. It looks cool. I love it. Freaking, I love it. Okay, sue me. I'm happy. We got Leia's lightsaber. I freaking love that. I wanted so bad. I didn't think we'd ever get it. The image of Leia with a lightsaber. We got that. We got young Leia with a lightsaber. It was CGI, and it's fine because it was a flashback meant to be youthful. I loved the CGI of Luke and Leia training together. It was a little cringy. It wasn't the best CGI, but it was dark, and it was only for a second, and it was meant to be a flashback anyway. So, you know what? Totally willing to accept that. That was cool. We get Leia with a lightsaber. Oh. I have to go back and watch it again, though, because I'm like, wait, why did she stop training with a lightsaber? Because she had a vision that somebody was going to die, and that's kind of one of those plot things that seemed kind of weak on the first viewing. I'll have to go back and see. But yeah, so fan service, I didn't expect I was going to get Leia with a lightsaber. I've wanted that for years and years and years. We got to talk about the biggest surprise. Harrison Ford shows up to be not exactly a Force ghost, but Kylo Ren remembering his father. So it's that was, my eyes were wet. I was a mess when Harrison Ford showed up, and it was so good. I'm going to cry again thinking about it. It was awesome. I absolutely didn't expect that. That was magnificent. That was so well done. And the whole, when he goes, I know, I loved the redemption of Ben Solo. What a good arc. What a good arc. Nitpick? We finally, while we get the Knights of Ren, that's cool. We don't get to see them do anything. They just are running around we're going to kick some butt. Nope. We're going to kick some butt. Nope. We're here. We're scary. No, let's leave. You don't get to see them actually do anything the whole movie. And then at the finally end, then they fight Kylo Ren, and he beats him so quick. It would have been great. They just seem who in the hell are these guys? Right? That's a nitpick. We need more Knights of Ren stuff. Holy crap. Come on, guys. I think the idea here is they probably want to sell a Knights of Ren book, or maybe were there more Knights of Ren that weren't there on the planet? What the hell were they doing there on that planet anyway? Why were they even there? like, so there's little things, but that's nitpick stuff. That's nitpick stuff. I'm fine with that. I'm glad at least they had the Knights of Ren. I would have liked to have seen, especially, you got the scene of Chewbacca, when they were going to capture Chewbacca at the beginning, the Knights of Ren, like, two of them looked at it, he's like, him? And I was like, oh, we're going to get this, like, I thought Chewie was going to die, for sure. I was getting that feeling. I was like, oh, we're going to see Chewie die. I bet you. And Knights of Ren are surrounding him. I'm like, oh, we're going to see Chewie have this epic throwdown with the Knights of Ren, and who are supposed to be, they should have been pretty serious badasses, right? We're going to see Chewie fight the Knights of Ren, and then maybe like he'll finally become overpowered, and Rey will be like, oh, I was doing my own. Everybody else will feel guilty because they left Chewie on his own. Well, we didn't get to see it, and there was no fight. Or if there was, we didn't get to see it. And we didn't get to see the Knights of Ren do anything. So that's one of my, like, come on. I wanted to see the Knights of Ren do stuff. The other thing that I really wanted was to see, like, I didn't think we'd get this, but I wanted to see, like, all the Force ghosts of all the Jedi kind of come back and help. We didn't see that, but we heard it. And so that was really cool. We heard Yoda. I heard Mace Windu. I definitely heard Luke. I heard Leia. I don't know who else's voices were there. That's going to be one of those things you go back and you're like, all right, who did I hear there? Because I'm sure we probably heard Anakin and Obi-Wan too. We would have had to have, right? I mean, wouldn't we? So, but I loved her whole showdown. If I could have done that better, or if, the only improvement I could have made on that final scene was like Rey, like she's got Leia's saber and then she grabs Luke's saber back from from the fallen, but where Ben was knocked down, and she's like, he's like, I'm all of the Sith, and she's like, and I am all of the Jedi, and like, it was a cool scene. It was cool. Would have been better if you had the Force ghosts of all of the Jedi behind her, and you could have seen Mace Windu, like Samuel L. Jackson, Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor. You don't even have to have them all show up to the studio to film at the same time. You could have you could have reused some of the footage from Return of the Jedi. If you could have seen the Force ghosts behind her and some of this, like, Dragon Ball Z father-son Kamehameha, like, that's what I wanted to see there. Didn't get that, but we got kind of the next best thing. We had the audio of them inspiring her, and that was cool because at least I got a little bit of that. I got like half of what I wanted out of that, and I didn't expect to get that, so that was pretty cool. Oh, again, another thing, I got half. Did get to see Finn use a lightsaber. I mean, he used it for illumination, but he did hold a lightsaber. I was like, oh, okay, that was on my list. I'll have to take that. That was kind of cool. And I was happy because of that, because I didn't expect to get that. And I'm like, thank you. Thank you for having Finn actually turn on a lightsaber in his hands. It was, I want to see more, but I'm happy for what I got. Again, so it wasn't Endgame, but it was good. It was fun. So I just want to give you some of my initial thoughts. There's a whole lot more. There was so many ships. Oh my God, the space battle. I can't, like, it was so much big. Like, in that scene where you saw all those ships, it was like that size times 10. So much more. I mean, that's something you buy on Blu-ray and then, like, pause and freeze frame and try, like, oh, Admiral Nick on Twitter is definitely going to be watching this thing. All right, yeah. So, whoo! So much. There's so much going on. They went to a lot more planets this time, too. I'll do a full review after I see it again. But, man, I really liked it. I really liked it, man. It was fun. It was good. It wasn't perfect. There was some nitpicks. I feel like... Oh, and the last thing I'm going to say, like, a nitpick. Finn, like, wanted to, like, presumably profess his love for Rey. There's something I got to tell you before we die. What did you want to tell me? I'll tell you later. He never told her. What? I mean... maybe you want to leave some stuff for the future, I guess. I did not see Ahsoka. Apparently, J.J. Abrams told a fan if they liked Ahsoka to watch the movie real close. I didn't see anything about Ahsoka. Oh, we saw Wedge! For only a split second. We did see Wedge in the cockpit. We got that, at least. So that's cool. That was great. Wait, I'm leaving stuff out, but all right, I'll talk to you guys later. I gotta go see this movie again, so I gotta take the kids next time. Kids are gonna love it. Kids are gonna have a good time. It was good. I enjoyed it. It was much better than I was expecting. It's not as good as it could have been. And it was very busy. Very, very busy. It was beautiful. It's beautiful. I got more questions. I got more things I got to break down and analyze. We'll talk more. Click that subscribe button. There's plenty of time left to win some more giveaways too. All right, guys. I want to thank my patrons on Patreon. You guys are amazing. I want to thank you all for watching. I will talk to you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. And as always, have a great day.